and welcome to session 1 of our series on parenting during the primary years. In this session, we will be looking at 3 main topics which are relevant to parenting children of all age, but with a particular focus on children aged 5 to 11. So what are the goals of parenting? What exactly as parents are we trying to do? We want to ensure our children feel loved, accepted and safe, enjoy their childhood and embrace it for what it is. We want them to feel supported to deal with the challenges that come their way and learn the skills and values needed to live. But we also want to prepare them for adult life so that they can function in the wider world outside the family home, cope with the knockbacks of life, develop healthy relationships and make a contribution to society. Some questions we can ask ourselves when considering how we parent our children are: how can we help our children learn to be responsible? How can we help our children develop the capacity to form strong, loving and lasting relationships with others? The roller coaster of parenting. As I said in the introduction to these sessions, life as a parent can be overwhelming at times, full of ups and downs, twists and turns. From the moment we find out we are going to become parents to when our children fly the nest, there are aspects of being a parent which are full of joy and excitement. But in contrast, there are also times of fear, worry, and sadness. Take a few minutes to think about your experience of being a parent so far. Were there joyful moments, scary moments, surprises, disappointments? What are your hopes for the future for your children? Pause the video now to take some time to think about these things. What is temperament? This is the emotional style and adaptability that a child is born with. As babies and toddlers, when children interact with people and the world around them, this may be modified to some extent. However, by the time they reach school age, it's unlikely to change much further. The kind of temperament a child has is usually quite obvious to those who know them. So why is it important to understand our child's temperament? It can help us to better understand their behaviour and to help us respond more appropriately. We can guide our children in a way that respects their individuality, working with them rather than trying to change them. We can meet their needs more effectively, and it helps us to anticipate and understand their reactions to events, circumstances, people, and places. Research has shown that there are a variety of basic temperament traits, but they can generally be grouped into 3 main categories: easy or flexible, strong-willed or spirited, shy or slow to warm up. An easy or flexible child can generally be described as easygoing. They adapt well to new situations. They are generally good sleepers. They are well behaved and do schoolwork without a fuss. And they are generally cheerful and friendly. A strong-willed or spirited child may be full of energy. They may have irregular sleeping and eating patterns. They might lose interest quickly in toys or games. They thrive on attention, but they can be quite sensitive. A shy or slow to warm up child likes routine and familiarity. They can be unsure of new people and places. They take time to adapt, and when they're upset, they tend to withdraw. They can generally be good sleepers, but they can really be affected by worries. Did those descriptions match up to your own child or children? Did you find yourself thinking of a particular child when listening to certain traits? I certainly did. I have 3 children, and each is very different from the others, and I seem to have one of each when it comes to these 3 categories. It's important to note, however, that these are generalizations. It may be difficult to determine some children's temperaments definitively. Children are complex and may have traits that overlap these categories. For example, I would say our eldest is definitely strong-willed, yet she's always been a good sleeper. Meanwhile, our middle child definitely prefers routine and familiarity, and can be affected by worries, but he's also very friendly, even with people he doesn't know. Our youngest is full of energy and can be sensitive, but at the same time he's very easygoing and adaptable. All my children, as different as they may be, are fairly cheerful the majority of the time, unless they're in trouble for something. Although all children can display challenging behaviour at times, having a certain temperament or personality traits can be more challenging for both the child and the parents. By recognising this, not only can we be more kind to ourselves and our child when it comes to the behaviours and situations that can be difficult for both us and them, but also to other parents and children who may be facing more difficult challenges than us. This can help us to not judge someone else's parenting. We more often than not don't know another parent's child the same as they do. So what do children really need? Although children have different temperaments and personalities, they all have the same basic needs. What are some of the most basic needs that children have? Take a moment to jot down some ideas about what your children's most basic needs might be. What did you come up with? The most basic needs for children include food, sleep. And then moving on, they need boundaries. They need love, close relationships, and to feel good about themselves. This is based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, in which he describes different levels of needs which are illustrated in a triangle-shaped diagram. The most fundamental physiological needs, which must be met for survival, are at the bottom, rising to self-actualization at the top. An individual's needs must be met on one level as much as possible before they can progress to the next. So let's think about how we can meet each of these needs. Physiological needs. Children all have basic physical needs. As parents, we need to ensure that our children have food to eat, mostly healthy, enough sleep, and appropriate clothing for the weather. Safety. Children need to feel safe and secure. As well as ensuring we keep our children safe from physical harm, for example, teaching them to cross the road safely or how to safely use scissors, we can also provide security by giving them consistent boundaries so they know what kind of behaviour is expected of them. Social needs. Children need to feel loved and to belong. All children need affection to develop well. As parents, we can help our child to feel loved by building an emotional bond with them. Esteem needs. Children need to feel good about themselves. As parents, we can help them to develop self-esteem by being willing to give them our time and attention, and by giving them opportunity to achieve at something, for example, a hobby or activity that they show interest at, they enjoy, or are good at. If a child's most basic needs are not met, then they will not feel loved, safe, and secure, and in turn will not be able to feel good about themselves. We will look at this in more detail in session 2. So how can we meet each of these needs? Children all have basic physical needs. As parents, we need to ensure that they have enough food to eat, as healthy as possible, enough sleep, and appropriate clothing for the weather. They need to feel safe and secure, as well as ensuring we keep our children safe physically, for example, teaching them to cross the road safely or to use scissors safely. We can also provide security by giving them consistent boundaries so that they know what kind of behaviour is expected of them. Children need to feel loved and to belong. All children need affection to develop well. As parents, we can help our children to feel loved by building an emotional bond with them. Children need to feel good about themselves. As parents, we can help them to develop self-esteem by being willing to give them our time and attention, and by giving them opportunities to achieve at something that they enjoy, like a hobby or activity that they're interested in or are good at. If a child's most basic needs are not met, they will not feel loved, safe, and secure, and in turn will not be able to feel good about themselves. We'll think more about this in session 2. So what have we thought about in this session? We've thought about the goals of parenting, what we hope to achieve as parents. We've thought about temperament. What are our children like, and how might we affect how we parent them? What are our children's most basic needs? How might we meet those needs to help them to develop well? Have a think about one thing that has really resonated with you from this session, or something new that you have learned. You could use these prompts to help you. At the end of this session, I have learned, as a result, I intend to, or I would like to think more about. We have also provided a resource for you to fill out with some further questions about your child, if you would find that helpful, to think in more depth about some of the things we have covered in this session. In the next session, we will be looking at the emotional needs of our children and how we can try and meet them. See you then.